spiel. And we're here today to talk about my president. I say it again. My president, President Ibrahim Traoré. When you have significant voices in Africa that are standing up to salute this very young man who has taken control of the government of Bukino Faso and has also caught the attention of the entire world, millions of Africans, and including myself, people like Julius Malema. What you have found is you found a man whose God has put his hand on his shoulder and said, lead. To all the cyclopses that are in the building, to my brother in arms, Dr. David Israel, the Hebrew linguist, the man who is decolonizing the thoughts of the world. And to all those in Emmanuel Church of Jesus Christ, Apostolic, the Glorious Churches of Canada, FTA, Theological Seminary, and FTAIM, International Ministry. We're here today to talk about freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, I need you to understand something about math. I'm going to show you something. Bukino Faso, I'm going to get the years right, in 2023, excavated 60 million tons of gold from their country. 60 million tons of gold in 2023 came out of Bukino Faso. 60 million tons of gold at the average gold price, let's put it at about $2,000. It fluctuates, it's sometimes a little higher than that. Is $384 trillion. 3,084 trillion dollars. Thank you, Alexa, for that math, because that was a lot of math. Did you hear what I said? 3,084 trillion USD. That's in 2023. Bukino Faso gold is at a 99% pure level. They are pulling out of the ground pure gold. Let that resonate for a minute. Bukino Faso is one of a few African nations that literally their currency could be backed by gold. Their currency could be backed by gold. Bukino Faso, by mineral deposits alone, is one of the richest nations in the world when properly managing their minerals. They don't need anybody for anything. They have expelled all foreign licenses for gold mining in their country. They 100% control the gold. They 100% control the gold residue business, because when you mine for gold, there's also other minerals in the residue. And they're one of the only two African nations that have that level of technology. Bukino Faso has not only dispelled colonizers and foreign corporations from their gold industry in their country, but they have effectively rallied African nations in similar categories to do the same. So what's wrong with all this, you might ask? The problem is it's an African nation doing it. And when you have an African leader of this proportion rising with this level of economic power, sophistication, and loyalty, you've got a target 100 miles wide on his back. And this is why I said a few days ago in a few videos, they're going to try to kill that man. And you know what? It was crazy. As it came out of my mouth, I was saying, man, I don't want to speak this into the situation. But a few days later, I started getting all of this media coming to me. Somebody, an activist in Toronto, sent me this and said, protect Ibrahim Traore march. Like, oh, I was just speaking about this. And I sent the video to her prior to that. So I was thinking she initiated it based on something I had said in the video. But then I realized this is not something simply happening in Toronto at the end of the month. This is something happening all over the world. At the end of the month of May the 30th, the entire world, London, Toronto, Africa, they are marching for the protection, for the preemptive protection of this young African leader, Ibrahim, the president, Traoré. The reason I call him the president intentionally, right? And I'm going to get to General Langley in a second. This old turncoat Negro. I'm gonna get to him. I call him the president because Western mouths have a very insidious and subtle way of undermining African leadership. They still want to call him Captain Traoré. They still want to say he's the interim president. Interim where? Interim where? They still don't want to validate that he is the head of a nation. They don't want to put him there permanently. And it shows your intentionality. You don't want to speak out of your mouth and call the man what he is. He's the president of Bukino Faso. Period. You don't want to say that. It shows your agenda. Let me see what y'all are saying early. I'm trying to speak, Mark Shepard. I'm trying to speak. I'm trying to say it. Listen to me. Bukino Faso could legitimately turn the tide of global currency and unite Africa in a way that Gaddafi was trying to do it before, right? Because what did they call Gaddafi before they were going to kill him? Remember what they called him? Colonel Gaddafi. Not President Gaddafi. They called him Colonel Gaddafi because you know why? It's okay to kill a soldier. He's a soldier. He died. It's okay to kill a soldier, but it's not okay to kill a president. So they don't want to call him president because they have an agenda to kill him because killing a soldier is normal, right? Colonel Gaddafi. They kept calling him Colonel Gaddafi. And then Obama killed him, right? And we know why they killed Gaddafi, right? Gaddafi had an agenda to destabilize the U.S. currency with gold and told Africa, we don't need them. We don't need them. We can have a gold-backed currency on our own. It wasn't too long before Colonel Gaddafi was being dragged through the streets of Libya and beaten, bludgeoned to death. And so Africa's not a fool. Africa's like, if you could have done it to this Arab over here, this black man, you won't hesitate. He's been in charge of that country for approximately 2 years. And so now here comes General Langley. General Langley taking care of U.S. interests in Africa, sending an illiterate coon of a black man. If you listen to General Langley speak, you know why I say that. He is not General Powell. He is not a spokesperson, an exhorter. He is not. He's a buffoon. He's a buffoon. Okay? He is a puppet. And he was sent there in blackface to secure Western agendas. He was sent there in blackface, meaning they sent a black person, a black general, so it didn't look bad, to oversee Africa. But when you listen to him, it's clear that this brother doesn't have he doesn't have a black card. He don't have a black card. He's not invited to the cookout, never been to the cookout. That boy is the property of the United States of America. That good old boy. I'll call him that too. That good old boy. Of his imperial masters sent him there with an agenda. And his agenda was to do the two things that they do before they try to murder you. First of all, they try to disenfranchise you from the intellectual mind of the world. They try to say, oh yeah, he's over there doing what Africans do. You know, he's not taking care of his people. He's keeping all the gold for himself. What were you guys doing? What were you guys trying to do? And he's trying to start that, and Africa stopped him immediately. African media, social media, African news shut him down so quickly. They're like, don't try that, buddy. Don't try that. Excuse me. Don't try that. We're not trying to hear that from you. We're not trying to hear that from you. We know what Ibrahim Traore is doing. We are aware of the industry. The guy is brilliant. Literally, if you start searching about Bukino Faso today, by the end of the day, you will find so much more that this man is doing. He is on the ground running. He has changed. He's a very intelligent young man. He is a very, very intelligent young man. And I am very optimistic at what he's trying to do. Let me explain something to you about how this whole thing was working with France. So what France was doing was France was effectively buying Bukino Faso gold with Bukino Faso currency. And they were manipulating the currency, so when they were buying the gold, the currency was stronger. And after they bought the gold, the currency got weaker. It's very, very manipulative, abusive tactics. And so, because France controls what was referred to as the CFA, the currency of Burkina Faso, they were able to effectively control the exchange rates of gold in their favor. And so, why I'm calling this man such an intelligent man, because he started his own, their own gold bar producing factory. And so they're producing their own national gold reserves. I don't know if you see where I'm going. Once Burkina Faso has enough gold on reserve, they effectively can create their own currency and cut off their connection to the CFA, to France, period. Because they can say our currency is backed by the reserves of gold that we have. And then create a relationship, and I know how they're going to do that one, because there's a lot of thieves running around there too, with the World Bank. I don't know if they're going to have to set a certain amount of gold bullion in reserve in places like Switzerland. I don't know what they're going to have to do, but they effectively could say, we do not require our currency to be propped up by any European currency. We stand on our own. And when you're pulling out of the ground 60, 80, 100 tons of gold a year, it's not going to take you very long to have enough gold reserve to say we are backed by gold. Our currency is backed by gold, and we have enough of it. And it all belongs to us. It doesn't belong to anybody else. It is stamped with the seals of our nation. It is our gold. And this, I believe, is what the West is drastically afraid of. Drastically afraid of. Because when you have another currency that is backed by gold, to some extent, not to a total extent, because currency is not only backed by the commodity, it's also backed by the military, which is my part too. He can say, listen, we have a world-class African currency. We're just like South Africa, just like anyone else who is G7, G8 nation. Our currency is backed by gold. You need an even exchange. In fact, I want American dollars. I want Bukino Faso dollars. And if I was a gambling and betting man, I would say to you, don't be a fool. You might want to trade in some CFA dollars. But the reason I'll tell you to pause is because I think this brother is brilliant enough that he's going to destabilize the CFA period and say, we don't want that currency at all. We don't want anything called francs. We don't want anything called francs at all. And we're going to establish our own currency. Might have his own face on it. I'm going to wait for that before I start messing in that particular exchange market. The second thing I want to talk about is the military. Africans all over Africa have said, please let us come and join your army. Let us come and join your army. Now, it sounds great, but, you know, considering some of the distrust in respect to African nations, that might be a hard one. That may be a hard one because the reason this guy hasn't been killed already is because of the loyalty of his own soldiers and of his own National Guard and his own protective services. That's why he hasn't been killed already, because they've tried to bribe these guys incredibly. So letting in other Africans to be part of their army, you know, they might say, we're not too sure about that. We're not too sure about that. But the sentiment to me is fantastic. And it's not just Africans. I've heard brothers in America say, hey man, we'll come up there and put on boots and fight for you too. Now, this is why we have to protect this man. Why is it that the entire world, Julius Malema, regular African citizens, people in America, are so worried at this time for the safety of this brother here? Because of two reasons. We've seen the pattern. We know our enemy. We know how he operates and how he moves. We know what takes place when African leadership rises to the top and what they've done in the past, right? The list of names is so long, it would take me an entire video to speak to you about all of the people and all of the African nations that they have destabilized, all of the surrogates that they put in place who work hand in hand with the CIA, operating in these nations from time to time. And it's not just African nations. We know of a bunch of them. We know of a bunch of these people. We know people like Saddam Hussein was propped up by the Bushes until they decided to kill him. Right? We know the Shah of Iran, and all these individuals who America puts their hand in their pocket and says, hey, you're in charge, but we're in charge, really. I heard rumors, I don't know how true it is, but that Trump invited Traore to come to America. He says, I'm okay. I'm busy running my country. I don't have time to visit you. The setup. He's not a fool. The man is not a fool. He understands the optics of going to sit down with President Trump. He understands that. You know, we can talk on the phone, bro. We can have a Zoom meeting. I'm not taking a flight to you and have to deal with international air, getting shot down by. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not putting myself in that position. Not right now. So, what takes place is when they're trying to kill a guy like that, they don't just send in the army here. They have to send surrogates, agents, right? They have to send proxies, right? Back in the day, they would send their little CIA guys, but you can't send a white guy with a beard to Africa pretending like he's a tourist. Like it's not going to happen, right? You Can't send a couple of guys like Wagner, a couple of African Americans. No, we know you're paid murderers too. So they have to send individuals who are African, people who know the language, the culture, people who can easily assimilate and fit in. And the amount of money and the amount of insurgency that they've tried to do this with already has let African people know, oh my gosh, they're trying to kill this man. I'm being recruited. I was recruited by another person who was the proxy of another person to get me into the country to see if I would assassinate this man. They know it, because you can't simply just send anybody to kill him. And you can't just be point blank about it and send a drone and drop a bomb on his head, because he's not an actual terrorist. You're not at war with him. It's going to be very clear what you're doing. America's not going to do that. France is not going to do that. So they're trying to find something that says, no, he was killed by his internal forces. There was a coup, X, Y, and Z. And then they backed the guy that they sent to kill him. They backed the regime they sent to kill him. So all of the intentionality trying to do this has awakened Africa to say, hey, Traore, I'm not killing Traore. I'm not killing Traore. They said they're going to give you 50 million. I don't care how much you give me. I'm not going to kill Traore. They're trying to kill Traore? Hey, my brother, they're trying to kill your president. They just came to my house. Listen, so Africa knows that there's a plan to kill him, because you can't just do it like you used to do it in the past. You can't send the Wagner group over there. You can't send these ex-American military over there. As soon as those guys land, they'll be like, hold on, buddy. What are you doing here? Oh, you want a vacation in Bukino, Faso? Oh, no, you don't. Turn right around and go back where you came from. We know what you're here for. So this is a badly kept secret now. And it's such a badly kept secret that it's spread all over the world. And I'm sure the West are looking at each other like, well, how did they find out? Because you're asking Africans to kill Africans, and for a change, they don't want to. For a change, they see hope in this guy. For a change, they don't want to be crabs in a bucket. Because for some reason, this young man has captivated our imagination of what could be, of what Africa could be. Man, I'm excited about his future. I'm also afraid for his future. I'm also very concerned about what they're going to do in respect to him. But I'm also extremely interested in the true depth of his brilliance and his genius. How far will he go with this? He's very smart in how he conducts his speeches. He does what great leaders do. He talks about the youth. He talks about the next generation coming after him. He talks about the unification of Africa. He has very smart people. He's not a dictator. I know a lot of you folks, you know, oh, this guy's just another African dictator. You have an African dictator you have an African dictator in the White House. His name is Elon Musk. Elon Musk, that is your African dictator in the White House. Okay? That guy's an African dictator. You have a dictator as your proxy president. I say he's a proxy because he's not the real guy in charge. That's a dictatorship. Canada has a dictatorship. Trudeau, the guy that quit, that guy was the president for 10 years plus. Okay? Because in Canada, there's no term limits. You can be the prime minister, change of term. You can be the prime minister forever here. That's a dictatorship. You can be the prime minister forever. Trump should be jealous of us, not Putin. He should be jealous of a parliamentary system. The parliamentary system is that if you are the leader of the party and your party keeps getting voted back in, you're the prime minister. Period. Over and over and over again. As long as you want to sit there, as long as they want to keep you there, you're the prime minister. So I don't want to hear anything of people talking about African governments. I don't want to hear anything. African nations are their own sovereign, independent nations and can run their business any way they see fit. Period. Nobody's going in looking into all of these other places and seeing how they run their nation. Nobody cares. What we care about is when you try to continue to be colonizers in 2025. That's what we care about. That's absolutely what we care about. And we are excited. We are so excited to see people stand up to the tyranny of the West. This is not the topic at hand, but I'm so excited to see what China is doing. How the Chinese government is so much smarter than the governments that are sitting in America. The Chinese government says, you know what? You want to put tariffs on us? Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to grant a 240-day visa to all U.S. shoppers. Come to China and you will be buying things at a ridiculous discount. You can come to China with no visa. That's what they did. They took the visa away. Trump was trying to put visas on people. He said, no problem. We're going to take all the visas away. Come to China. Shop. You're going to be buying Birkin bags for $50. Come over here. We're going to open up all those factories that you have of all those. Yeah, we're going to let you shop direct in all the same factories. Yeah, the factories that are making all those big brands, we're going to let you shop directly in them. You can go home with all your stuff and pay a tariff at the border, I guess, when you get there. But I love the fact that there are men and women in the world who are looking to destabilize the old guard. I had a brother come to me on Facebook, and I understand. He said, man, no disrespect, but why does it seem like you're always just so negative? Like, he didn't say this word, but I'll use his term. You're like a contrarian. I am. I said, because so much things are wrong, brother. And I wrote, if you have learned your entire life to write from left to right, and I come in and I try to say to you, listen, the truth is written from right to left, you will look at me and say, brother, you're backwards. If you are in love with a lie, then the truth will always be your enemy, my brother. It'll always be your enemy. And I will never look like a friend when I come wearing a custom-made suit of truth if you have been wrapped in the rags of lies. I will look like a foreigner to you. I will sound like a foreigner to you. My ideas will be backwards. I will sound like I'm a contrarian when I'm trying to liberate your mind. Decolonize your thoughts, my brothers and sisters. Africa is still a decade away from being in a position politically to receive African Americans, Western Africans, to settle in their nations. They're about a decade away. Even nations like Ghana are still not 100% there. Because at this moment, they must have a protectionist economy. I don't know if you don't know what that means. It means that they have to be careful of foreigners coming there for various reasons. But I think those are ridiculous reasons for Africa. And let me explain what I mean. So if I want to go to the Caribbean, and I want to buy land. Before, the Caribbean wouldn't stop me. I can go down there, I can buy land, I can start building a house. They're not going to stop me. Africa stops you. Africa, for most places, I'm speaking in general, and tell me if certain African nations don't have this, I'd be happy to hear about it. A lot of times they have a custodial chief system for the land. So the land does not belong to anybody but the chiefs, and the chiefs now can sell it, but it's not a real sell, it's a lease. They can lease it to you for 100 years, but it's really technically still theirs. Also, you know, Ghana, for example, you can't go to Ghana and drive, right? You got to get a Ghanaian passport or Ghanaian driver's license. You know, it's hard to get a cell phone in Ghana as a foreigner. It's hard to do banking in Ghana as a foreigner. It's very hard. It took me days, and still I had to get all of my other documents first. If they want African Americans to come back, but they put fees on being, you know, being a registered business, or if you want to have a business, you have to have a business license. You have to get a a residency type permits. It's expensive, and it's bureaucratic. It's cumbersome. It takes a lot of time, right? And yeah, there's some of that in the Caribbean too, but not as much as in Africa. And so you need, I mean, I go to America. I went to America. I'm not an American citizen. I'm not an American resident. I went and opened an account with Citizen Bank in 30 minutes. Right? Because why? I have money. They want the money in the bank. Like, I opened a bank account in 30 minutes because it's a bank account. It was very difficult to open an account in Ghana. Very difficult to get a driver's license in Ghana. Right? And most of the time, you don't feel like waiting. So you bribe somebody and you just get the doggone. Listen, I don't have time, brother. Listen, how much you get this for me? Literally, you say, okay, here, take the money, come back with my license. When am I getting it? Oh, I'll bring it to you in 2 days. Okay, good. You just need to go take a picture. I took a picture, blah, blah, blah. Good. Bring me back my license in 2 days. Because you don't feel like going through the bureaucracy of taking, you know, a month to get a driver's license. And so some things, it's easier just to pay somebody to do it for you. And in Africa, that's not considered a bribe. That's considered VIP. Here we're like, isn't that a bribe? No, it's not a bribe. It's VIP service. Concierge service. Right? And so even nations like Bukino Faso, my urgency to want to be part of that movement, I still have to pause because I don't know if they're able to sustain the lifestyle that I'm expecting to have down there, right? And granted, they're getting their act together. They're a new nation and things like that. So, you know, I shouldn't put that type of stress and pressure on them, right? When I say a new nation, they're a new nation. They're a new independent, sovereign nation, based on what this young man is doing. And so they got to figure some things out, and then they got to figure out who they want to be there. Because if they open up their borders too soon, the only people that are going to come in there are who? White people who are there to kill them, Chinese people that are there to develop the land. We're going to get some Russians in there. I think he actually put Russians out of there too, although he's allied with Russia and China. But he said, hey, you guys are doing too much. I'm going to have to stop you guys from doing this right now. Can't do that. But, you know, he's got to be careful because who's going to come to his country? They're going to colonize the economics of the place, set up shop. So he has to make sure that everything is running the way he needs it to run before he opens up his borders, which is a very realistic thing, right? And without bringing up my favorite African leader name again, he doesn't want to be Idi Amin. Doesn't want to have to bring everybody in and say, okay, I got to kick you guys out again. Like, you know, every African leader who wanted to control his country had to kick the foreigners out. Had to kick them the heck out of Dodge. Because they were there stealing. Right? Idi Amin, he told those people, and he was really rough about that. He told those people, not only do you got to leave and leave all your stuff. Don't take nothing with you. Just get out. Don't go to the bank. Banks are closed for you. Don't carry too much. Oh, that looks expensive. Leave that. He was rough with it. This man is trying to be a diplomat. He's trying to be a gentleman, but he's trying to be an individual that takes care of his country, and he's trying to get these colonizing thieves out. And he was very smart. He said, first of all, we're going to invite your army to leave, because you don't want to start a fight with folks who are holding guns at your neck. He said, I'll invite you guys to leave. Thank you. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, we don't need you here anymore. Kick the military out. All right, get those people out of there. And then you start kicking out the corporations. Do it the other way around, problems. So he politely escorted everybody out of his doggone country. And now he has to build it back. So I'm just encouraging you, everybody, to start talking about this man. And this video didn't do him justice, because the things that he's doing, I heard he's rejuvenated the farming. He's bought all these new tractors and new technology, and he is going on a checklist of how to build a nation, one by one by one by one by one by one. Very smart man. Very smart man. But I really hope that these guys, this is what I think I need him to set up an Iron Dome like Israel, right? Because if America's your enemy, so is Israel. I gotta watch what I say, because I'm trying to go to Israel in August. I don't know if they're gonna let me in, but he's got to set up an Iron Dome, right? He's got to make sure that he has state-of-the-art Navy, Air Force. He's got to make sure that he has satellites up there looking at the people who are looking at him, right? Anti-drone technology, anti-missile technology. He's got to get himself his own Air Force One, because if that brother wants to travel, second he leaves there, he's a sitting duck. He's got to get that kind of technology. So he got the bucket to do it, though. He got the pocket to do it. The brother's sitting on 3,000, did you hear what I said? $3,000 trillion a year of gold that are in his name, that are sitting in the ground. They pulled out 3,000 trillion, 3,084 trillion. I didn't say 1 trillion, 2 trillion, 3 trillion, 4 trillion, 5 trillion. I didn't say 100 trillion, 300 trillion. I said 3,084 trillion in 1 year. He might be the richest man in the world in a few years, in a few months. Ooh, brother, you are the spirit of the truth. We have a purpose of being in the world to see the war between the lie and the truth. We praise God for that. This is a weird guy. Why do I have such weird people? Listen, you colonizers, just go do something with yourself, right? Go do something with yourself. I know your mama birthed you out sideways. You just gotta go do something with yourself, man. Go find something to do with yourself, right? This ain't the channel for you. This ain't the channel. This places for people like you. You know, there's places for you to do the stuff I see these little boys, these little weirdos write. These little weirdos write stuff. They're little strange little weirdos that write stuff here. So anyway, when we go into our immediate future and start to pick up the wealth that we have just left lying on the ground, and namely it's really in Africa, right? And in the West, it is our own intellectual resources that we have here that we really haven't used properly, right? Briefly, like, are we really using Dr. Umar, brains like Dr. Umar? Are we using them properly? All the brilliant people in America, what are they talking about right now? Relationships. Like, who the heck cares? We're using our best minds to have conversations about relationships. Like, I don't want to talk about that, right? We're focusing our our energy on excellence that is usually an actor or an athlete, right? We have we have brilliant physicists, and these guys. How can you be a brilliant physicist and also be an atheist at the same time? Like, don't you we have created intellectual cuckolds, if you know what that term means. Individuals that are being hamstrung and controlled by something else. And we need to expand that here in the West. But these brothers here who are in Africa are fighting the real fight. They're really fighting a real fight. When you're trying to build a nation, we're not building a nation here. We are assimilated into a nation. And some of us have risen up and said, I don't like it here. I don't like how this has been done. I'm not going to forget my history. But we've got to be careful here, right? Because what you say now, even things like this particular platform, they can take your job from you, they can take your money, they can affect your money from you. That's about all they can do. But over there, what they say, they can get killed. They can be killed. And this brother, all he's doing is running his country. And they want to kill him because he controls way too much money and way too much power. But Malcolm said it like this: when there will rise up a man who is so powerful enough that not only will he inspire the people around him, but he will inspire black men all over the world. And if you kill that black man, if you touch one hair of that black man's head, the world will come for you. Farrakhan thinks he's that guy. But Farrakhan hasn't been a leader to black people for a very long time. I'm sorry. He hasn't been. And I still believe Farrakhan potentially is complicit in the death of Malcolm X. That's just a wild allegation, and I feel it in my soul. But Farrakhan hasn't been a leader to black people all over the world in a very long time. And yes, he has sound bites that he has said things at times that have been very powerful, but that's old Farrakhan. That's Million Man March Farrakhan. That's CBS interview Farrakhan. This Farrakhan, older Farrakhan, I believe, and he's an older man, I understand. But to me, as an older man, you should have, I don't know what happens to black people when they get old, that they seemingly get more passive, but you should be, you on your last few legs, bro. You should be saying stuff that's really serious because you old now and you don't care. But Farrakhan isn't that guy. Traore is that guy. Traore is that guy. Right? Malema, I was a big fan of Malema until he went on some kind of LGBTQ rant, and I was like, I don't know where you're going with this, Malema. I don't like you're in Africa, bro. Like I don't know where I know where he was going on some. I was just like, I was with you up until this part. I don't know where you're going with this, but Traore is that guy, and just like these weird people who come here to attack common sense, and they use the ridiculous to try to distract us. We're not going to be distracted anymore because we understand who we are. And when my self-knowledge becomes offensive to you, oh, I know I'm on the right track. When me saying, I love the fact that this young brother is raising up to be a great leader in Africa, you come on this page and you get disrespectful and disgusting, I know I'm on the right track. Because you got nothing else to do with yourself. Because you can't. What can you do? All you can do is punch at the wind. All you can do is Cuba Gooding Jr. yourself. Because Africa is rising up. And the sons of Africa and the daughters of Africa are rising up to say, we stand with them. Ibrahim Traore, that's my president. president. Let me read the comments. I'm gonna let you go. What happened to the sound? The sound is there. Oh, I didn't lower my voice. I think it's what happens when when I turn off my car, the sound goes down. So um, hello. Yeah. Sahel State is family, and I'm with you, brothers. Ibrahim is about the people. Did you see all the protests they had across the world? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to. I was trying to mention that earlier. Um, anyway, I appreciate everybody. What I'll do is I'll keep my car running to the end because that happened before too. So I appreciate everybody. God bless you. This is Del K. Brereton, and this is The Real Spiel. Shallow Institute. Stand up.